So, hello friends, we are here in New Munster in northern Germany. That is a town that is situated between two oceans and had the biggest meditation center in Germany. And at the moment, there is a confused discussion about those two wills that had appeared after the Gurudev had taken the samadhi. And there is still a lot of confusion. So, on the left side, you see this picture that should symbolize the holy tradition of masters, starting with Narayana and going mostly through Shankara, who established the four seats of Shankaracharyas, and then leading to Gurudev, who then had a lot of disciples, and one was the Maharishi who brought this whole wisdom later to the West. And as you can see in this group, in this movement, the whole thing stops here. There is no real clear understanding of a tradition, especially since the so-called official TM has a main Maha mantra from the Maharishi, which says, "Don't change anything." So this is a distorted understanding of knowledge and tradition. As you can see, we in New Monster, we advertise under the heading of Beyond Enlightenment. So we took in the mid-80s the main parts of the teaching of the Maharishi and worked out new instruments out of that, which then we could say easily lifts people beyond enlightenment. So two of the most recent tools, scientific tools that we developed and were playing with is one is the communication with animals that is running a lot in Germany. So if you have a problem with your dog, cat, horse, or whatever, you can send a picture, just a picture of your dear pet here, and then someone is giving you a session and is giving your pet a session, and then the problem is solved. Mostly to get you into doing a session on yourself, but mostly the problem of that dear animal is then closed and solved. And the other thing is the intelligence of plants. We are looking into that, and we could immune a whole field of plants which was highly affected by a certain kind of beetle. And we did that with our insights, and there is even an article in the newspaper about that, how we did that in that field of those plants. So these two things have been developed from our understanding of human consciousness. And so consciousness doesn't stop just because someone says, "Hey, don't change anything." There is much more to be discovered in your own consciousness. And I had an exchange of emails with some people from the Purusha, so-called monks division of the official TM, and one guy wrote me a sentence and that said, "Don't try to be more intelligent than the yogi." I always call it the yogi. Now, this is complete nonsense, because every professor in any university, if he's doing a serious and really groundbreaking scientific research, he wants his students to grow beyond the idea that he can grasp, and he points to areas of knowledge where they can dive into and develop new understanding. So the tradition of knowledge is to expand beyond the teacher, and it's not to worship the teacher, it's to understand knowledge. Now, the whole thing in this interview in the hive about the two wills that appeared after the samadhi of the Gurudev again shows that this whole group is not understanding the structure of knowledge. Knowledge is not something that belongs to any group, but knowledge has been developed, let's say, in the field of mathematics over the last 3,000 years, and some of the equations, like the angles in a triangle or the sentences of Pythagoras, they have been fixed, and then every child these days has to learn them. So there is a lot of fields of knowledge, and let's just dive into this so-called riddle of those two wills. So as far as I understand, there was one basic businessman who started to reconstruct the monastery of Badiamat, which later became Jyotiamat. So he was constructing a small monastery, and then a group of yogis sat together and they were discussing who could be the Pope of Northern India, Shankaracharya, and they then choose the man who later on became Gurudev and who had a very good influence in whole India and had these offspring of the Maharishi. Now, when the Gurudev went into Samadhi, there is still this complete confusion that the yogis in northern India had to battle several times into the highest courts of India about the question who is the real and legal follower of the Gurudev, which shows that a group of yogis is not able to handle such questions properly. Now, the main heading here, as you can see, is the Pope doesn't choose the next Pope. So installing the man Gurudev as the Shankaracharya of Jyotirmat was a decision by a group of yogis and the business people who brought out this monastery. So that is the assembly. And as you can see, in the Catholic Church, when a pope dies, then the assembly meets again, all the cardinals are invited, and the assembly then chooses the next pope. So this is the main problem and misunderstanding, can you believe it, of those yogis being so narrow and so selfish that everybody wants to be the pope, which is all right, that's a good wish. But the Pope, no matter how far-reaching and high consciousness he has, never has the ability and the authority to choose the next Pope. That is completely wrong. So after Gurudev went into Samadhi, the whole system of yogis should have been that they assemble again as a group of those who so had the legal authority of the Jyotirmat monastery, and then all the yogis should sit together and choose who is the next legal follower and who is the next Shankaracharya, the next Pope for northern India. And as we can see in this picture on the left side, it somehow shows that the official group of the TM is stopping your consciousness and understanding of knowledge, because it comes from heaven. It reaches via Shankara to Gurudev, and then Maharishi, with his devotion, takes a lot of that knowledge and brings us to us in the West, where we are really deeply thankful for it. But there is more to come when you understand your own consciousness, and that is not limited to an official organization that has grabbed the trademarks of some of the words like TM and transcendental meditation and Maharishi. They are not the custodians of the knowledge, and they are not the custodians of the understanding of consciousness, human consciousness, and the reach, how far you can go. So this confusion that people say, oh, there was a will, and who is the real legal successor of Guru Dev, is a sign that the yogis, when they come together, don't have an understanding of a systematic approach of knowledge. There is so much battle of everybody wants to be the big guy. And it shows that they don't have the knowledge to come together to reach into high levels of understanding of a systematic understanding of applying common sense and knowledge. There is nobody in the field of mathematics who would say, I'm the only mathematician. Everybody is able to solve the next problem or come up with a new formula, and then the assembly of all mathematicians would look into that and say this is a valid new understanding, and it mostly then gets your name on it, and then people will work with that new formula and start to develop and understand new fields of mathematics. There's new fields of understanding still everywhere to be found. So if you want to get beyond enlightenment, you should come here to New Munster, which is in northern Germany, and get a few sessions and understanding of your own consciousness that goes beyond enlightenment, and you then start to find your own tools which you then can apply to people and the world. And of course, we don't touch the knowledge of the yogi, because that is okay. We just take it to step into the next levels of understanding. So there we are with this knowledge and this discussion about the two wills that have been confusing India and northern India, who is the Pope and who is the legal successor of the Guru Dev, brought me to make this little video from the understanding of beyond enlightenment from New Monster. So if you want to have a real expansion of your understanding, you should come here for 4, 7, or 10 days, and then you have a lot of tools to understand yourself and knowledge, and you're not confused by these things which want to limit you. And this Maha Mantra, don't change anything, can stay like it is, but you have to expand beyond it. Okay, so that's the thing here at 22nd of August in 2024. Yeah, bye-bye.